Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show where, after the carnage, we sift through
the Maximum Wreckage.
The boys.
and we are live on Hamin Media Group's YouTube channel and on the Twitch. And I am your host, Jimmy T. He is my co-host, the best in the world, Jaime the Vet Williams, and he is the glorious, the magnanimous Professor Chabelo Vera Cruz. Fellas, welcome to the Maximum Wreckage. Since we had Maximum Carnage, and I just want to point out quickly, hey, Tony, you used my old show name for a show that I had many years prior. I don't know if you guys remember on the PWC network, but I used to have a show called The Friday Night Carnage, which actually used to cover AEW, in particular, Rampage. So yeah, Tony, you owe me big time. But Vet, I'll start with you first. How are you, man? How's your week been? And been a busy week in pro wrestling.
I'm good. I'm enjoying week 2 of the new theme. I kind of feel like I want to hop in a cigarette boat and chase down some drug dealers in Miami 40 years ago for some reason. I have no idea why, but I just get that feeling like that's what I want to do right now. Anything's better than reviewing AEW, but at least that's what I would be saying if I wasn't able to do it with such magnanimous and such Jimmy T-ness co-hosts as yourself.
I didn't have a gimmick. I'm just Jimmy T. But that reminds me, Prof.
DJ.
What's going on?
DJ Jimmy T.
Well, yeah, I heard you guys say that actually on the next level. But yeah, thanks for that. But DJ Jimmy T is just too plain. But Prof, what's cracking, man? How's your week been? And are you pumped for the Maximum Wreckage?
What's up, Vet? What's up, DJ Jimmy T? The DJ-ness of all DJ-ness. What's going on to the Hamin Nights? What is going on? Because again, Jimmy, I'll say this. You know, I'm the most objective man. And in the span of, I don't know, what is it, like 3 or 4 days, the wrestling world, well, this little bubble that we call the wrestling world, the IWC, has been topsy-turvy. Certain business decisions has affected the landscape of 3 promotions. I can't believe it, guys. You know, that is some news, even though Vet does not like news. We know this. All the Haminates know that he does not like to hear about news, and sometimes he just wants to move on from the news, or that the news is just bad news. But you know what, Vet? This is news. We've got news.
Let me cut you off. Let me cut you off right there. No one ever said I didn't like news. What I don't like, right, is I don't like when wrestling dirt sheet sites take excerpts of podcasts that they listen to and pass off those sound bites as headlines. That's what I don't like. If we got real news to talk about, I'm happy to talk about it. So let's be 100% clear.
We are in a new world. Everything is clipped. Everything is clipped from a TikTok. Everything is clipped from a twig. It's the way of the new world. I hate to say that. You're welcome. I would agree with you. I would even fight with you on this. I want to be on your side, but this is the way of the new world. You just have to accept it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's when well, I'll give you an example, right? So this is an example of living in what the professor perceives as the world today, which he's not wrong. We're living in it. But it's up to us what we do about it. So, for example, when you pay your money to the Wrestling Observer, okay, and they tell you, I don't know, Chris Jericho, he's probably going to WWE, but I don't know. I don't really know. And that costs you $12. That's not news. That's what literally anyone could do in their brain while they're just sitting around. So, yes, that is the world we're living in, sadly. But that is the HMG difference. We're here to cut through all that shit for the people that are tired of hearing what they already thought of on the toilet themselves. They want to hear what professionals think. They want to hear a different take, a real take for people that know, take for people that have done it. That's what HMG wants. And apparently, you know, that's not what the masses want. Because when I'm having to hear about news bites from something called Self-Made Pro when I'm like, what the fuck is that didn't exist 6 weeks ago? And they're bigger than us. I got a problem with that. So it's up to all of us together.
I agree.
All of us here at HMG, everybody at Pro Wrestling Reflection, everywhere. And HMG, you fans, you wonderful listeners, viewers, it's up to us to grow and spread the awareness. We have to spread the awareness. We have to change. We have to revolutionize this world that we're living in, where you could pay $12 to $14 a month to hear, I don't know, you know? So that's all I got to say on that.
Well, speaking of those
I still don't, Jimmy and Vin, I still don't understand why people pay, what is it, 10, $12 a month for wrestling?
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm just saying. I mean, you could do a lot with your 10, $12 a month. I mean, nice, you know that. You know, you could subscribe here on our Patreon for the entertainment, for the perspectives, for the knowledge. And we don't overcharge you. We give you a discount rate. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. And speaking of those wonderful and brilliant listeners and viewers, I do want to give him a shout out. And as a matter of fact, Labrad's in the house saying Kangaroo Carnage. That's a good one. I like it. Also, this ain't Texas says, can't wait for the 3 best on HMG to make AEW entertaining. Thank you. This ain't Texas. That means the world. Also, we got Cold Blooded saying, morning friends, I'm actually more of a minimal carnage kind of guy. And
Jimmy.
Yes.
Recurring charges, Figure 4 Wrestling Online, $14.99 US a month.
That's gone up.
But if you act now or anytime, and pay for the entire year, that's $149.99, which is the equivalent of getting 2 months for free.
Yeah, nah.
Or,
No, thanks.
or 1 month of Figure 4 Wrestling Online with a bunch of, I don't know, you could hear him list luchadors, and then you can hear him say, I don't know, maybe on everything for $15, or that's 3 months of Patreon for HMG. So that's 3 for 1. You know, we're talking about me, we're talking about Professor, we're talking about Jimmy, Ray, RBV, Ben. What you be the judge. What's the value? What's that value worth to you guys?
I'd rather spend that $14 at Starbucks for my breakfast.
Well, Cold Blooded says $14 is like 5 white monsters.
I'm a white monster, pal.
Unbelievable. That's a ripoff. I remember it used to be at least $12, even $10. Heck,
Times
even
are tough, Jimmy.
It was $5, I think, at one stage. But yeah, Mel, dude, Jesus Christ, what is he doing, man? And remember, I'm in Australia. I have to pay double that shit. There is no fucking way I am paying that much ever. I have before. I hate to say it, but many, many years ago. But never again, Dave. God damn it. Anyway, speaking of Dave.
But Jimmy, before you move on,
yes,
at least in the United States, if you pay for all that stuff that the vet said, the tax write-off. So, we kind of like.
That's true. But you know what? Do you think
we make ends on that?
Honestly, guys, now that you got me thinking about it, do you think Meltzer's a millionaire? Anyone?
He could have us, definitely saved $1 million. I don't know what his spending habits are like, so just depending on how well he saves, but he's made way more than that, so I'm sure he could be.
He damn well ain't spending on cleaning services with that apartment he's in.
Oh yeah, have you seen that picture? Right.
And it ain't cheap to live in the Bay Area. And the prices have only gone up over the years. Maybe that's why the Observer prices had to go up too.
Probably, for sure. Isn't he in San Jose, if I remember correctly?
Somewhere in there.
I'm pretty sure he's from San Jose, but I could be wrong. But anyway, fuck, that's a lot. He's probably the most expensive on the planet when it comes to the dirt sheets. It is what it is. But it doesn't matter because we'll report it right here at HMG and on Wreckage. And let's start with...
Oh, I got a report. $2.99 super sticker from Jerome. For life.
Shit. Oh. Thank you, Jerome, for the super sticker. $2.99. We really appreciate that, man. Thank you. And I've got your details. I'll send you an email shortly, man, about that. Thank you to Vet, by the way, for doing that, passing it on to me. But anywho, let's get into some news because according to good old Dave Meltzer, he's reporting on the Street Profits WWE absence, and this is an update apparently why they haven't been around. I know this is you're probably gonna like this one, Vet. But anyway, he reported on the Wrestling Observer newsletter that his sources stated that the reason for Dawkins and Ford's current absence is not due to any injury-related issues, but because apparently they're gonna WWE is gonna actually refresh them. So they've been apparently also training at the Dungeon 2.0, which is Natty's and TJ Wilson's dungeon, that is, in Florida. And apparently they're going to be back very soon in some sort of refresh. Vet, what could be this so-called refresh? I mean, they've already tried this once or twice already. What are we going to be looking forward to with the Street Profits and the so-called refresh?
The return of Solo Cups.
Solo Cup.
What's old is new again. I guess basically
Exactly.
that's it. I mean, look, the Street Profits, I don't think the refresh is the problem. I think the problem is you have one of the few sort of like, this is definitely a tag team, right? But you don't really have a division for them. We don't have
the issue.
We don't treat tag team wrestling as a separate entity. It just seems to be like a bunch of stuff to get a bunch of people in one match. Okay. So the people have liked the Street Profits, turning them heel just didn't work. Remember the Bobby Lashley thing with the suits and all that stuff? It's like, nobody wants to see that. It's just not, it's not what you want. Those guys, however they got over, that's how you know them. That's how you want to see them. So if it's the guys having fun, getting in there, they were going through the audience and stuff like before the Usos.
Right.
There were no Usos in the audience. That was the Street Profits coming through the crowd with the cups, dancing with the people, right? And then all of a sudden, here come the Usos, and it's like, hey, you guys got to chill out with that, right? This is pro wrestling, guys. This is wrestling politics and things like that. So, as far as the Street Profits are crucial for one important reason, and that is Dawkins' job, because this guy has been on thin ice for about 10 years. Sure. If you guys even remember, there was a point right before Montez Ford got hired, and I guess Bianca too, right? Didn't they come in together?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they
maybe we didn't all know they were married right then, or dating or whatever it was.
Just yet. They did link up to WWE.
Okay, whatever happened before he came in, Dawkins was in a tag team with Ty Dillinger, which him as Sean Spears. And this is before he was the Perfect 10 and before Dawkins would go on to be the Street Profits, but he was still doing that thing where he's dressing like Uncle Drew, like the old washed up uncle at the basketball court, like he was still doing that back then, but it was just by himself. And he's just some normal looking guy with a minimum athletic talent, no promo, nothing. And then they put those two guys together. He went off to do the Perfect 10. Dawkins went off with Ford and they became the Street Profits, and things worked out how they worked out from there. But Dawkins can't do it on his own. If the Street Profits ever end, his career ends that day because he's got nothing. He's learned nothing in the entire time he's there. He's a cheese sandwich, the likes of which all cheese sandwiches are like, God, I got to be better than this cheese sandwich. I got to be at least a slice of pepper jack. I can't just be American craft singles on white bread. I got to be something a little bit better. Even cheddar would be better.
Cheddar is much better.
Much better.
Much better.
Dawkins is not cheddar. So he'll be gone the moment the Street Profits are over. And Professor, that's why it's crucial that whatever the refresh is, that they're still the Street Profits.
Do we really want our Street Profits refresh? I think you just said it. We want Montez Ford in a singles capacity. And for Angelo Dawkins, and Vet, you just said it, I think Angelo Dawkins, his best foot forward would be to get released and do the indie circuit and work his way back to the WWE while Montez Ford gets a chance to do what everybody in the IWC thinks he can be. he can be a potential, and I'm putting it in quotes, a potential main eventer. Let's see what he can do, because I think Dawkins is the you could say the albatross to Montez Ford. He needs to get released. Honestly, again, he needs to get released or go to AEW. Just go to Japan. He's got to. Angelo Dawkins at least got to look for Japan, and Japan needs Gaijins very badly. So at least you know who Angelo Dawkins is to a degree. So again, let's see what Montez Ford can do on his own, because I think that you just nailed it on the head. I don't think there's anything left for the Street Profits to do in the tag team circuit, because it's passed them by. They had their run. The cups were a thing. Then the Yeets took it over. That's kind of like racist, man. What's going on here? How the Samoans get over on the black people? Well, neither here nor there. That's
took the culture, took the jobs, took the gimmicks, took everything. It's fine. So, well, look, from a different perspective, I just want to say, like, it would be nice if the Street Profits were ever in a tag team division. That's the only thing. Like, they try to push them as champions with no contenders. There's nothing to... it never had a chance. We haven't even seen a real Street Profits. If you could have, just imagine, like, you go back in the day all the time. Just imagine dropping the Street Profits into any of those great tag teams that we had back in. If you dropped the Street Profits into late 80s WWF, or late 80s NWA, think of the matches you could have had. Now, obviously, you're not going to get anything to that level now, unless... we take tag team wrestling seriously. I don't know whether it's more likely that I'll put it this way. There's definitely more of a chance that WWE can be like, okay, let's do tag team wrestling. Like, let's put at least not the whole focus, but at least give it its moment on the show. Like tag teams is for hour 2, whatever you want to say. I think there's more of a chance that they'll actually do that than Dawkins will ever get over on his own. And he certainly, if he gets released, he ain't coming back. There is no working his way back. He hit his ceiling when they put him in a tag team with Ty Dillinger. He was already at the ceiling. He came in, he's been working above the ceiling for all this time being carried. And albatross is the perfect word.
But
but from the albatross's point of view, you got to hang on to that neck as long as you can. So like, I don't blame him.
No, true.
But that's just what it is.
But think about it, from what you're saying is and I don't know about the contract situation, but if Montez is loyal to his brother like that, then the best course of action, and for what you're talking about, for them to keep going with the tag team thing, we already know where to go. They should be on Wednesday. They should be on Saturday, because that's the only place left to do tag team wrestling. Can't go to TNA because WWE kind of like, has a little bit of interest in TNA. Can't go to AAA because, WWE has a little interest there. So you go to the other place where you have CMLL and all that stuff and New Japan, and they can do all that stuff. If there's loyalty, if there's a brotherhood, if that's the way Montez feels.
Well, I just want to say, do you think there's a bit of, how can I put this? Do you think Montez Ford kind of feels bad to blow up the team and go alone? Do you think he's got some sort of guilt if he actually went that way? Because part of me must be thinking that surely he thinks, I want to have a singles run. I know I can do it. And you remember they teased it a few years ago, and then it just fizzled out. So, Vet, I'll ask you first. Do you think there's some sort of, feeling bad for Montez for blowing up the team, if it's even possible for him to do that?
I think I obviously can't answer that in terms of what he thinks, because I don't really know anything about what he thinks. I know that I'm sure that he would like to have, a moment to shine, but I don't know if he thinks it's worth it at the expense of like somebody else's well-being. So I don't know about that part of it. But it's definitely possible. There's things that's like, I want to make this work, like I'm still getting paid. I'm making good money. I'm not maybe creatively satisfied, but that can change overnight. One day they can just decide, hey, we want to do something. And then that can all change. And if I leave now, then, I'll never know. So it's just one of those things. Like I understand being loyal. Right. So
is it to a fault though, Vet?
It's only to a fault based on what you consider to be success. Right. Some people think success is measured in being able to look at yourself in the mirror every day rather than dollar amount.
Fair enough.
So if you feel like if you can wake up and say, if you can wake up, look in the mirror and say, hey, I cost this guy his job and I'm fine with that, then go for it. But some people think, hey, maybe a tag team is good enough. I don't need to throw somebody under the bus to get over it. I have no idea what kind of a person he is. Not a bit.
Yeah, neither do I, and I'm sure Prof doesn't either. But I just want to quickly welcome Alexa for joining us. Hello, Alexa, straight from Germany too, by the way.
All the way from Germany.
Yeah, and also we've got J12 in the house saying, "What's up, HMG Snowed?" and listening to the Wreckage. Thank you.
He'd be listening even if he had anything he could be doing.
That's true. But thank you for both of you actually joining us too. But we'll see what happens with the Profits anyway, and good luck to them. But at this point, yeah, I just think they need to change things up. Well, let's get into TNA, not TNA news, actually AEW and WWE news, I guess. But it's about good old powerhouse Hobbs. And as you know, was noted earlier in the week or last week, that apparently he's not going to re-sign with AEW and he wants to sign with WWE. Well, Dave Meltzer once again has brought us an update, and he goes on to say that WWE had pursued Hobbs hard in regards to wanting to sign him to their company once his AEW contract has expired. Meltzer also reported that Hobbs' move to WWE is a gamble for his wrestling career due to WWE currently has bigger people with bigger physiques, so his size might stand out less. I just want to pause right there. Really? I mean, he's a pretty big guy. I'm pretty sure he'll stand out, but that's just me. But anyway, he continues on saying, Meltzer also reported that another potential issue for Hobbs is that success in WWE usually requires someone to either be great on the mic or being paired with someone like Paul Heyman. While WWE is currently expected to make changes to Hobbs' presentation for his arrival, including a new ring name, Meltzer also compared Hobbs' transition to WWE to other notable former AEW talents. And Meltzer reported that while Cody Rhodes, Penta, and All Ego Ethan Page have done better in WWE than they did in AEW as single stars, Ray Phoenix has not done better in WWE, and the jury is still out on Blake Monroe, who has yet to reach the same level she has in AEW. In regards to Hobbs' decision to go to WWE, Meltzer speculated that it was probably the right move due to Hobbs' older age, and he can still start in WWE with new excitement and new momentum for his wrestling career.
$14 right there, Jimmy. What you just read was $14 worth.
That's true.
Of information. I ain't saying that's
99 cents.
That is true. Well, since you jumped in, actually, Prof, I will ask you first. Now, is he? I think he's going. He's saying he's sort of going too far ahead of himself here. First of all, Blake Monroe hasn't really had a bad run, in my opinion, in NXT, and I'm sure she will get pushed up into the main roster very soon. Right. But anyway, that's just me. But anyway, would Hobbs be a success in WWE? Is he too small in WWE, which is a bit bizarre? Maybe in height, he's not as tall, but God damn it, wideness-wise, he's pretty big.
Well, I have an answer to Uncle Dave for what he just said and everything you just quoted. What is the bar for everybody leaving, right? Because with Dave and the IWC mark cards, this is a little bit of a shoot. Is like, what are you expecting from people leaving? Are you expecting them to be the main event going into WWE? Like Blake Monroe, is Dave expecting a monumental program, main event worthy, and to be the women's champion in the matter of a week? That's not the reality. The same thing that goes for Hobbs. He's gonna get a weird NXT name. Vet, what's gonna be that NXT name for Hobbs? Is he gonna be like Jamal Hammer or something? I don't know.
Powerhouse Dobbs.
He ain't gonna be Powerhouse Hobbs. We know he's gonna be something
with a D. With a D, Dobbs.
Our Hobbs Dobbs. Oh, Jesus Christ! You already ruined
Powerhouse Dobbs.
But again, I'm gonna just say this: what is he? He's what, 33 or 34 years old?
Apparently, that's really old, according to Meltzer.
That's not old. He's in his prime, but he's making a business decision with his family and he's taking less money because I find it funny, Jimmy. Think about it this way. Remember, I don't know, what is it, like 6 years ago, 2019, 2020, when somebody we know named Vince McMahon was overpaying wrestlers to stay in WWE, overpricing wrestlers to stay in WWE because he did not want them to go to the competition of AEW when it was just a startup. How karma is a bitch. Tony Khan overpaid Hobbs. He was giving him a boatload of money, and back then people complained that, well, let the wrestlers wrestle. So I'm going to say this to Tony. Let Hobbs wrestle. Let him do what he wants to do. He left amicably. He left on good terms. But I know Hobbs is a businessman. So he's going to take a shot, see what's going to happen in NXT. By the way, NXT needs an injection. And Vet can probably co-sign this. NXT men's roster needs an injection of Powerhouse Hobbs or whatever the name he's going to be, because that men's roster kind of sucks. It's all the women's roster has been carrying the NXT brand on the CW. Let's keep it real
for a long time too. Yeah.
If Hobbs is going in there, at least you can inject him. He already has that Obafemi look, even though he's not going to be Powerhouse Femi or something like that. But you know what I'm saying. But at least you can inject Hobbs into that main event scene, and that I could see Ricky Saints against Hobbs. You could do those matches on NXT. That'd be interesting right there. But at least you can understand. He's already injected into the main event scene in NXT right now. For Meltzer just to think like that is kind of ludicrous to me. But you get where I'm going with this. But he's taking a chance on himself. He's taking less money. And if it doesn't work, guess who's going to pay him a lot of money when he comes back to AEW? Tony Khan. So it's a win-win for Hobbs. He's going to get money paid. He's going to get paid. If it works in WWE and the merchandising works, he's going to get a lot of money. If it doesn't work, he goes back to AEW, and Tony Khan's going to give him double the money he just left. So it's a win-win for Hobbs. God bless. God bless Hobbs.
God bless Hobbs. And Vet, could it be even worse and he joins a New Day as Big H? There's a possibility.
Wait, what are you going to do to Paul Waller? What are you going to do to Big W?
Saying, there's a possibility of that fucking shit happening, man. I hate to say it, but it's true,
no,
man.
There's not, but it is funny. That is hilarious. Now, speaking of hilarious, Cold-Blooded, we got to put over Cold-Blooded's dub comment there. That's almost as good.
Stop selecting now.
So was there a question in all that? I mean, I don't know.
Is he going to be a success story? Is he too small in WWE? And, God forbid that he doesn't become, Big H and actually becomes a single star over in WWE.
I honestly don't see anything for Hobbs. Oh, there's guys that they seem good, but they seemed good because they were standing next to the rest of the AEW roster.
Right. Absolutely. For sure.
And Hobbs is one of those guys. Not that he's small by any means. You wouldn't call him small, but there are a lot of bigger guys in WWE. So that's what they mean by not stand out. Like, even if he's bigger than some of them, but like if he's almost as big or the other guy's bigger or about the same, like he's just another guy there. I couldn't recommend anything. Like if you just show me like a highlight reel of Hobbs, I'm like, well, this is every guy that's already here.
Right.
Like what does he do that anybody else isn't already doing here that's already sitting down, not being on TV? And now I'm going to pay another guy. Did you hear the thing about supposedly the WWE having a tryouts where they're looking for a lot more black athletes, right?
Yeah, right.
Because apparently people think Triple H is a racist and it's not, okay, well, it's not, there's already a lot of black people in WWE.
There actually is.
Yes. So signing more doesn't make you less racist. You have to do something with the ones you have. You haven't done anything with the ones that you have yet. We're giving Javon Evans a chance right now. Obafemi's getting ready to make some moves like Jade Cargill, but we're starting that, right? Signing Absolutely. More people. There's still plenty of people. There's people in Evolve, the WWID champion is still Cappuccino Jones. Hello. Who told you about? Who put everybody up on Cappuccino Jones? Me,
did.
motherfuckers. Me.
Months
okay.
before.
So there's people already there. It's not a question of quantity. Will Hobbs, I'm sorry. It's just he's good in AEW. AEW could have used him. They didn't. It's their fault. You could say that about Wardlow. He's not black. You could say the same thing about Wardlow, but he's a guy that's like, ooh, impressive. Because he's standing next to these small-ass guys.
But they don't have... Tony Khan fucked up because he didn't create the AEW Meat Championship because it was all about the meat.
We didn't even get the meat match when he originally promised it. You know? Like, we were robbed of the meat match because somebody got hurt or suspended or whatever happened back then. I don't remember. Who can remember? The point is, AEW has guys. They don't use them. Tony offered Hobbs money to stay, supposedly. Hobbs was like, I'm good. I'll leave. Because he's tired of sitting. Right? It's just... There's way too much stuff not going on in AEW, which we'll talk about. That's the meat of our show. Speaking of meat, the meat of our show is talking about what happened in AEW this past week. And we're going to find ourselves probably, much like the Ops, lacking, starving. We're not going to have much to eat. That's right, Jerome. Black meat.
Oh, no, even worse. Jay Tuff says WWE going to make him black broadest.
I got every steak I eat, I name after one of my favorite wrestlers.
Somebody call my mama. Well, that's
no.
Yeah. Right. So, that is the thing. Like, I'm sure whatever Hobbs will do. Labret, another win comment.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm sure what Hobbs will do is he'll come in and he'll be overly serious. He won't be Big H. He won't be dancing. He won't be doing any of the, I don't even want to use the word that's the proper term for it. It's not appropriate for a white man to say, but he won't be doing any of that. I'll just say that I reserve judgment on what they're going to do, but AEW and WWE, regardless of color, regardless of skin color, both have a lot to do regarding like the proper usage of all of their talent. You've got, I just heard this stat, talking about that Stranger Things episode, 10 people wrestled on a 3-hour show. Like there were 10 people that actually put boots in the ring. Right?
Yeah.
So we got some other things to do. And now you're just going to bring in Hobbs just for what? I don't see it. I would be like, yeah, we're all full up here. So get what you can from Tony and the re-sign. Thank you. But,
well, obviously we'll talk about that later, what happens with Hobbs. But anyway, good luck to him. Hopefully he does become a huge star in WWE because I think he's got potential. But like you said, Vet, are they going to view him as a big guy amongst big men? I don't know. We'll see. Let's go to TNA news, though, because apparently TNA's debut on AMC this past week is supposedly the worst show ever, which is pretty sad saying that. I was meant to be on the watch along. I stepped through it. I jumped on a lot later.
There was a glimmer in Vet's eyes when you just said it was the worst show ever. So not only he co-signed it, but he can't wait to talk about it on the Impact Attack.
Yeah, well, we're actually talking about it off the air. But Vet, I am going to go to you first. You are the resident, TNA guy here for the Impact Attack with Whoop Whoop, good old Brandon. Now, was it really that bad? Could it really be as bad as people make it out to be? Because everyone is just shitting on it. I have not seen not one positive thing about it.
Well, like you said, I will be on, or the professor said it'll be on the Impact Attack, be here all about it. Because as of this moment, as of this recording, I haven't watched it. So I can only assume that because I'm one of the only people, I'm in the top 0.01 percentile of people on Earth that actually watch TNA. Okay? None of you people out there are watching it. None of you, I promise, except the ones that do. I know you from the chat. But other than you guys, the vast majority of mankind and even wrestling fans among that, and even old TNA fans among that, Like we're going lower and lower in the niches of people that actually watch TNA. So when you hear there's going to be a big debut, you hear this as AMC, it's a new channel, it's a new era, TNA, I remember them. I'm going to check this debut out or whatever. Of course it's going to be the worst show you've ever seen because you haven't been watching it. For me, it's just another Thursday. But for you guys, you're like, you got hyped up. You marked out for the hype because you hear that TNA has got a relationship with WWE and they're making moves, and Bound for Glory was their biggest show ever last year. And you hear all these things about people talking about TNA and you ain't watching that shit. When you watch that shit, it fucking sucks. And I've been telling you every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, how bad it sucks and the reasons why it sucks and what they could have done to make it suck less. But it's all new to these people. You know how I found out that everybody hated this show?
Yeah.
I'll give you one guess. How did I find out that this show sucked? You'll never guess.
Social media.
Okay. No. Yeah. Oh yeah. RBV invited me. He said, "Hey, Vet, I'm trying to get some people to watch for the big watch along." I was like, "Get fucked." To use a term Jimmy would like. I ain't watching that. I watch TNA at double time speed, like sometimes like 6 hours before I got to record the Impact Attack. Like I push it to the last possible moment because it is so far down the list of priorities in my life. So
damn, dude.
So it ain't, again, I'm expecting to watch this show and be like, yeah, that was this week's Impact, but everybody else is shocked. Cage Match was shocked. What they get like, you couldn't have given a worse reviews on Cage Match if you review bombed it on purpose. But the way I found out that everybody hated it was I was just scrolling my Twitter and I saw a tweet from Moose who felt like he had to defend himself vaguely against people saying like, there's a difference between criticism and opinion. And some, everybody doesn't have the sound. I was like, wow, if Moose is just tweeting that randomly, I guess it's not randomly. I guess there's a reason for it. I guess nobody liked this shit if he felt like he needed to speak up on behalf of the company. Everybody knows I love Moose. That's not a secret. I'm a big fan of Moose, a big fan of what he's done, but that doesn't mean that the show is good. And they have like 1 or 2 legitimate stars there that you would tune in and be like, wow, this guy, I want to see more of that. And TNA is not pushing them. TNA is pushing Mike Santana down your throat.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike Santana would be a great guy to be on the card, but you can't force a people's champion. A people's champion is somebody the people choose against the booking, like Bryan Danielson, for example, or something like that. Yeah. No. Again, manufactured bullshit. Right. So, but you have a guy like Moose and you had maybe a guy like Joe Hendry. Those were the guys. And both of them had been so marginalized to the point where, none of them are doing anything important. And I'm sure they weren't doing anything important on this show. So when you tune into TNA, what are you going to get? Who are you going to see? Who are you going to come back to see? And even of the people that they do have, they're not doing anything interesting with them. So I'm sure that's what people who tuned in to this debut on AMC were subjected to. A normal episode of TNA. But that's what we've been getting. And it's been getting worse. So I'm not surprised that nobody liked it. But it is funny, how people will... It reminds me, just real quick, and then I'll shoot over to the professor. But it reminds me of when Sharknado first came out. Yeah. And there was a big buzz about the movie Sharknado. People were talking about it. And they were just talking about it like, this silly movie that was on Sci-Fi Channel and all this stuff. And I remember hearing like some, I don't know what they were like, drive time DJs or something talking about it. And they had the nerve to say they didn't like the movie. And I'm like, what did you think this was going to be? Everybody has been watching movies like this shit for years and they didn't catch on. Like whether it was, Sharktopus versus Crocosaurus or Lavalantula or like any of these shitty sci-fi original movies
almost
with
did it too.
shitty CG monsters, like, and this one had the funniest title so far, so it got a buzz. But you thought this was going to be a real movie? Like, you thought there was going to be any semblance of good in any of this? You're surprised at this? And that's kind of how I feel with this TNA thing. It's like TNA got all this buzz and you finally decided to watch it. And you're like, you have the nerve to be shocked that it sucks? Why do you think you weren't watching it all this time? Anyway, Professor.
Oh, facts. Prof.
Very factual. And Vet, Sharknado has been so successful. They had 5 movies of Sharknadoes. It was a great story. So Ian Ziering is the man. But anyway, about TNA, it's funny because I remember the debut episode of Impact on Destination America. I remember the debut episode of TNA Impact on Pop TV. Nothing was different when it moved from Spike to Destination America to Pop TV. And I saw the debut episode when it moved to Access TV. You know why? There was nothing about it, Jimmy? Because they had to move. They had no choice but to move. Because that was the business of TNA. Because the mismanagement, the losing of the money, especially from this once Spike said, "Fuck it, we're not gonna give you any money for this shit." That was it. Right. So that now they got a little momentum from the matches of 2025. I'm not going to dismiss that, Jimmy, but it was TNA's fault. They said January 15th is the most monumental date in TNA history for the debut of AMC. I was not going to fall for that bullshit. I knew what I was going to get. So am I disappointed with what I saw? I actually saw it, Vet, so I will tell you this. Was it a bad episode? For a cage match, to give it a 1 rating because there was less matches on it, yeah, I can understand, people's disappointment about the lack of match quality. But for the business side, Leon Slater having visa issues that he couldn't be on the debut episode, I can understand that. I don't know how many other...
Oh, yeah, we should talk about that, too. Let's talk about that after you make your points.
Yeah, right. I'm just going with the logistics of what I've heard. Leon Slater had the visa issue, so he couldn't make it for the debut episode. So they try to use AJ Styles to, rah the TNA Impact debut on AMC. Fine. Well, WWE at least, threw him a bone. I can at least give you that. Perez Hilton, I don't know why the hell he was there, but he did something with the Elegance brand, but that's what he was used for. He was there. Perez Hilton was used there for the Elegance brand. And for the AMC thing, Mike Santana won his belt back because obviously TNA brass and booking of Tommy Dreamer and Delirious thought, why not save Mike Santana being looked like a doofus losing on his first defense? Why not win it on the AMC debut? They thought that was going to be a great business decision. But just like Vet said, something happens with this booking. They marginalize people that we like Mike Santana, like Moose, like Joe Hendry. Then they kind of take the momentum away from them and make them look stupid in their bookings. That's a TNA thing. That's not me saying that. That's just, you can see that with your own eyes. So with that being said, what was the Mark Tars expecting? If you've seen TNA for years, I got what I saw. I'm not saying I was happy with it. But I was not disappointed with what I was expecting because, again, I've seen TNA for a long time, guys, and the debuts of every network that they've been on has been almost the same. That's it.
You're an educated man, Professor. It's not going to work on you, but it worked on them because they're mad. Mm-hmm. At least they're smart enough to know it was bad. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. But this is the thing. It's like, just to give you some ideas, I don't want to turn this into a whole TNA thing, but just to give you some ideas, like what I say about Bound for Glory, they say it was the most successful show they've ever had, last year, and attendance records, all that. Well, how do they follow up that success? They took 3 weeks off for the holidays.
Jesus.
Clip show. Okay. So, if that doesn't tell you right there, if that doesn't give you the mindset of how backwards these people are, then I don't know what could possibly convince you. How do you, if you get any momentum, anybody would tell you that you got to keep that strike while the iron's hot, keep the ball rolling, any cliche you want. They all mean the same thing. So TNA doesn't do that. Not only that, when they find out, okay, so let's put it, let's put it another way. You talk about Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry was getting a little bit of buzz, he shows up on WrestleMania, and for Randy Orton and all that stuff. People had their opinions on that, but regardless, he made it there and did that. Impressed WWE officials to some point, to some degree. Like, hey, we want this guy. Hey, we'll actually buy him out of his contract to get him here earlier because we want to have him. So what does TNA do? TNA runs it, books him into the ground, right? So it's like that'd be like if your friend is gonna. It's just like Jimmy. It's like, Jimmy, I got a car. It's perfect condition. It runs good and everything. I'll give it to you for a discount. And you're like, oh, great. It's like, all right, just let me go hit a wall real quick before I give it to you. Am I going to do that? If we got a working relationship? No, right. I'm just going to sell you the car. Like, that's just what I'm going to do. I'm not going to fuck it up before I give it to you out of spite. Like, I'm mad at you because I want to give you the car. Or even if you wanted the car, if you made me an offer for the car, and I'm going to spitefully wreck the car just so you can't, yeah, you could have it. It's just that's this kind of weird thing. And then this mindset of like, okay, we're going to take our champion. We're going to have him lose the belt so that he can win it on the AMC debut. So that means everybody in that booking committee, whether it's Delirious, Tommy Dreamer, everybody that's working in that office, are you so out of your fucking minds that you think anybody's going to mark out for a fucking title change of some people they've never watched? I would have rather just go in there with Mike Santana and Frankie Kazarian and just have the match like with Mike Santana as champion. Because it doesn't matter. If you're telling me this guy's the champion and I see him make a defense, that's going to tell me, okay, this guy's obviously the man here. I don't need him to, like, if you're telling me the backstory of like why this guy lost it, or you think that winning a title in 2026 means something in this landscape of 1,000 titles on every fucking show, I'm sorry, that's just Mark thinking. And so if Tommy Dreamer and Delirious are Marks, TNA's in trouble. Simple as that. And it's not going to get better.
Let me just say
because and I just want to say one more thing to prove this point. As long as I've been doing the Impact Attack with Brandon, when I tear the show apart, sometimes I'll cut a scathing promo on TNA. And then for some reason, miraculously, the next couple weeks, the show gets a little bit better. So it's not like they don't listen. But Brandon always says, well, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll see where this is going, like that. And then like he says that so long, and then I will go and I'll say, when he says it, after a certain period of time, I'll say, hey, Brandon, remember you said that like 6 months ago. You said that a year ago. Well, how do you feel now? Like we are at the benefit of the doubt stage. How do you feel now? And he even has to admit, yeah, they fucked it up. Hindsight will tell you everything. You could just go back and look. Anytime you thought, well, let's see where they're going with this. It's never been anywhere. They've never gone anywhere. They've spun their wheels in the same place.
Let me just say this, that because business-wise, I'm only going business-wise. I'm not going booking-wise, Jimmy, here. What were the ratings of Access TV? They weren't that very impressive to begin with. Maybe 100,000. I'm being nice. Maybe 100,000.
Wasn't the average of 60,000, 70,000?
They were definitely under 100 at some point.
I'm just being I'm being nice here. I'm shilling for TNA. 100,000. This is AMC. You got to introduce new viewers to a product that had been struggling for years. So who do you use? You use people that you know. So that's why they heavily booked it. And to begin the show, they heavily booked it with the Hardys. They booked it with WWE guys that people are, oh, wait, those are the guys I saw on Raw. Those are the guys I saw on SmackDown. So at least I understand who they are.
AJ.
And AJ Styles. You book with people you know. You can't, and I'm sorry to say that, you can't book it with Frankie Kazarian, introducing Frankie Kazarian. You can't introduce Mike Santana. They're not known. Technically, they're known for the marks, but they're not known for the I hate to say the WWE viewer, But the WWE viewer, if they're gonna tune into AMC, they gotta find a recognizable face with a recognizable history to have me say, all right, I'll give it a shot. And then I'll give it a shot with the new people I've never heard of. And then it should be engaging television. That's where they dropped the ball on, Jimmy.
Great points by both of y'all. I mean, how many times do you want to screw it up? You know what I mean? You'd think they would do something different, but they just don't. I think the Hammer really hit the nail on the head with this, because he says Dreamer is cool, but his booking is garbage. He gets off on it, on the Miz arcs. I agree with that. I think he is pretty much garbage when it comes to booking. And if he sees Santana as champion, I like Santana. Don't get me wrong, but he just comes across as very, I don't want to say quiet, but like too chill. He's got no sort of, I need to see more fire from him, man. Like, I need to see something more from him. I just don't think he has that charisma like a lot of people thought he did. You know what I mean?
They're really trying with Mike Santana, but like I said, they're trying to manufacture a people's champion.
It's gonna backfire.
They're just saying, like, and maybe it's working, for their audience. Maybe it is, but they keep doing vignettes of how hard his life has been, and they keep bringing it up in interviews, and he keeps doing promos about it, and they parade his daughter out there to say, I love my daddy, I believe in you, daddy, and all this stuff. It's just like, they're doing everything they can to try to make him relatable, but sometimes that works, not when you do it like this, but sometimes that does work when you're the people's champ. But other times, sometimes people are tired of seeing people they relate to. Sometimes they want to see somebody super unrelatable. Why do you think, for the past, 2 decades almost, superhero movies and Marvel movies have been so big? Because people don't want to see normal shit. They want to see super shit. And wrestlers used to be that. Ain't no human beings on earth like Hulk Hogan. Like he just... It was a big thing in the 80s to see somebody like that, and people nobody looked at Hulk Hogan and was like, yeah, he's just like me. That's the thing. So like I said, you got to know what you have and how to use it, and ultimately that's a problem not just with TNA but with everybody.
Yeah, well, J12 says if you think Santana doesn't have charisma, then Ortiz on this episode of Collision has negative charisma. They should have never broken up. I agree with that. They're better off as a team, but unfortunately, Santana was the one that wanted to blow up the tag team. Plus, they weren't even getting along at this point. So
Ortiz without the fro, it has no charisma. Ortiz with a haircut.
Weird, dude.
I was gonna say it, but
I'm gonna say it.
These saying Texas says Santana not the problem. The book is not promoting him.
They're promoting him. They are promoting the shit out of Santana. The fact that you don't think so tells you everything you need to know. They're not doing a good job, but they're definitely trying. Like if you've watched 1 second of TNA in the past 6 months to 8 months to a year, Santana's been on it, probably telling some story about how he's overcome his rehab and, his addiction and rehab and all this other stuff.
Sounds like
they're promoting him.
Sounds like Eddie Guerrero from 2004.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. And plus, people don't like the pity card, man. Do you want to feel bad for the guy? Like, is that what you're trying to do all the time? But
the pity card, Jimmy, has a shelf life. I get what you say. It has
exactly. It sure does. And plus, everyone does it too. Like, it's already been done a million times. We get it. You know what I mean? He's just a human being like everyone else. Shit happens.
Well, yeah, and you're also building it into a promo that people won't boo.
Right. Exactly.
You're not going to boo a recovering alcoholic, even if you don't care. You're going to be like, yay, because you want to be nice.
Right. That's true.
Enough of these guys.
And like Jerome says, we all got problems. I don't want to hear about it. Exactly. Yeah. Anywho.
You mean I can't be that fan vet? I can't be that fan vet to say, take a drink to Santana. Just to shout that out. Take a drink. Take a drink.
You can. You might start something. You might be like, this is what we're all thinking. And now finally it's okay to say it.
Salute. Anywho, let's go back to AW news, and this is pretty much the last thing, and then we'll get sifting. Darby Allin on him being not a fan, get this, not a fan of doing 100 big moves in the match and not wanting to get complacent with his AW career. The Orlando Sentinel held a recent interview with Darby Allin. One of the topics discussed included Allen's thoughts about his preferred style of wrestling match and him not being a fan of doing 100 big moves for matches. And this is what he had to say. He says, I like to watch wrestling matches that really stand out without a lot of moves because I'm not a fan of doing 100 big moves a match. It's fun to see the emotion, how they carry themselves through a match without relying on big moves or big false finishes. I just watch how they pace things back then, and he'd rather sell and do my thing and have emotions. Allen also gives his thoughts about how he does not want to get complacent with his career in AEW and his issues with others in AEW's locker room who treat it like a spring break. He goes on to say, every time I make an entrance, I have a chip on my shoulder that I have to show everybody what I'm capable of because I never want to get complacent. It's my biggest fear. I watch these guys get somewhere and then start going through the emotions. When people in the locker room treat it like spring break, it really ticks me off. I have to give everything to wrestling because wrestling changed my life. So I'm going to treat it with the respect it deserves. Vet, do you agree with that? Or is he being a little bit of is he contradicting himself just a little bit? And we're fans of Darby Allin. Let's not get it twisted, but I think he's contradicting himself just a little bit by saying that.
About what, like the 100 big moves?
Yeah, because he
doesn't really do 100 big moves. He
not
can't
100, but he does quite a few big moves, including big moves that he takes himself.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying. I think he's talking about like like the Kyle Fletcher match.
Right.
I'm going to kick out, right?
Yeah,
it's the kick out match. The Hammer would say the kick out match. I'm going to hit you with, or the Kevin Owens. He does it too. Like we don't have to pick on one company. We could say all these guys that have a mindset. What would Ben Hamin call it? ROH class of 2012 or some shit, like he says. It's these guys that they worked for a certain audience, and now that audience has become it's bled over into a national thing, and this is more the norm than it was 15 years ago, say.
Right.
Because these guys have now made the big time. The guys that were working in the Ring of Honor cards, they're signed to the big companies now, right? So their style of doing that, like, my match can only be good if I kick out of every move you do to show how cool and strong I am, right? I think that's what Darby's talking about. Darby's doing like a stunt match. Like he's sort of doing an evolution of what Mick Foley did, where he would take a big bump and really sell it, and it would be almost to the point where people are like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? Because they were saying everything they say about Darby now, they said about Cactus Jack in the 90s.
True. But Mick wasn't doing it week in, week out, though, to be fair,
he was doing it day in, day out. No, Jimmy, he was doing it day in.
Yeah, he works more than Darby Allin does. Darby Allin works once a week, if that.
But I'm talking about on your Raw shows and stuff. Like Raw.
Jimmy, no, don't go there. Don't go there. I'm talking world
Cactus
class.
Jack, Jimmy. Cactus Jack.
And ECW, different story. As Cactus Jack. Right.
WCW, Mexico, Japan, fire death matches.
When you talk Cactus Jack, I agree. I'm thinking of Mankind here right now. But yeah, you're right when it comes to Cactus. Anyway, continue though. Sorry.
So, like that's more, but the difference with guys like Mick and Darby is they know how to work, so they don't have to do the 1,000 moves kick out match. So there's criticisms that can be levied against Darby Allin for whatever, but I get what he's saying about like the psychology of the way he wants to do things. And maybe due to the nature of wrestling today or what he perceives the audience to be, I don't necessarily think he gets the maximum value out of some of the bumps that he takes. Cause it's like, he probably like, well, I would sell this longer, but I don't have that much time on TV here. So I have to do the next thing. But I have to get it in, so I'm going to do it. That's a problem with the general pace of wrestling these days with these guys, whatever it is, they stuff that it's Jim Cornette would say, it's like when somebody would take a bump and get a 2 count, and he'd be like, in the territories, that would have been a hospitalization angle. That's what we're doing. We've taken hospitalization angle bumps and made those just like, oh yeah, that's just what happens on Raw. That's just what happens on Collision. You're just going to take this bump and you're just going to act like nothing happened, so.
Prof, what do you think?
He said something about spring break. I didn't get that quote properly.
No, he's basically saying like it's a holiday basically for everyone in the locker room. Like that doesn't take it as serious as he does.
Oh, yeah.
Serious.
The people playing video games in the back.
Yeah, like that basically, without him actually mentioning it like that. That's how I took it anyway.
No, that's a generational thing. I'm not saying I dismissed that, but the reason you said spring break, that kind of like got my radar going, Jimmy. Didn't he take a break last year to climb a mountain?
A winter break.
He took a winter break.
Yeah.
2025 would have been his biggest year in the wrestling business, and we talked about this exclusively here on the Wreckage, guys. We remember this. The story was built for Darby to win it all in, but he chose to take a break to go. He
doesn't need the world championship either. Remember that.
And he doesn't want the world championship. So again, to say that certain wrestlers want to feel like they're taking a spring break, when in actuality, he took a break from his own career. He would have had the biggest story last year. He would have had the biggest payoff last year for the business, for his legacy, for his career. We could dismiss the one, big stunt move that he does in every match he does, but he took a break because he didn't take the business as serious as he is complaining about other wrestlers. That's just me. Again, people can make their own choices, but he said that the AEW title was not important to him. The mountain was important to him. So for that, his stylistics we can compare him to, Mankind and Cactus Jack, Jimmy, and all that stuff. I'm with you with all that. He does one move. He does one big move a match. Does one like death-defying move a match. To me, that equals 100 flippy spots. That equals 100 false finishes. One bad move that can probably give him paralysis can equate that. But he took a break. He didn't care about that title. So if I was a wrestler in the AEW locker room, knowing that maybe Darby was going to main event All In, guys, but he decided to take a break for all those weeks to build up, I'm like, dude, they were going to give you the rocket ship. They were going to give you the legacy. They were going to give you the torch. You turned that down. What's that? So then don't look at me playing a video game behind the scenes. Don't look at me trying to elevate my Twitch channel. If you was going to be given the keys to the castle, Tony Khan's toy chest, and you refused it. So again, it goes back and forth with that.
And he said that too on the Aero Hawani podcast. He literally said, I didn't want the title. So yeah, it's weird. But I get what he means. But like you said, Prof, and that's how I was thinking. That one big move to me equals like 100 flippy spots. But he's also smart because he does a lot of the shit on the outside, so it doesn't lead to a near fall, I guess. So there's that psychology about how he structures his match, which is
when we sit through the wreckage of this one, that one big move. We can talk about
We're gonna start right in now with that. Pretty much.
Let's get into it, please. So, Vet, I hand it off to you because it's time we sift through the wreckage, and I guess we need to put more than one pair of gloves on right now.
Well, you better call Spider-Man and Venom because it's Maximum Carnage.
It is.
It's Maximum Carnage. So, yeah, we get they're telling us this Samoa Joe cut this promo. It was earlier in the day where he says he's putting a bounty on Hang Person. And who's the perfect person to collect a bounty in AEW, Jimmy?
It is Bekeith.
Big business bad apple bounty hunter Brian Bekeith. He's ready to collect that bounty. He's never collected one yet in his entire life, but he's going to do it tonight. He's going to against Hangman. Yeah, that's the guy. These guys are both well versed in the use of lasso. You know,
it is. They should have had a lasso match.
Yeah, they should have.
So we're actually saying that the 20 op students, Hook, Shibata, and Hobbs, officially are not capable enough to do a bounty on hang person. That's what we're saying. It has to be Bakeith. It has to only be Bakeith.
And there's also a bandit running around too, but we'll get to that much later on.
Yeah, you take you go with the experts in situations like this, Professor. You don't want to hand it to an amateur like Shibata. He doesn't hunt people. He just has matches. He's the wrestler, not the bounty hunter. You know. And Hobbs is a powerhouse. What does he know about tracking? Like clues, detective work, those kind of things. The kind of things that only a bounty hunter would do.
Yeah, the book of Hobbs. I don't know what was in it.
He wolfed.
Well, no one knows what was in that book. Plus, I think it was stolen out of his car in Oakland. So, either way, we'll see what happens here, because the main match, that starts this show is, that last lingering thread of the Death Riders that
deal.
It's just like stuck in Darby Allin's teeth, and he's got to floss it out. So it's Pac versus Darby. And Pac makes sure to tell everybody, this was weird. I'm just going to say this was weird, but you know how they have like Renee sometimes now? She's just like standing over by the barricade by the ring. And then like, it's just, she's there like doing the sideline reporters like Pam Oliver or some shit. She's like, well, guys, the Death Rider said that they're going to take a plastic bag and try to murder somebody tonight like they always do. And then, then Pac goes over there and he's like looking at him, and he's about to talk to the Death Riders. And then Renee just like reaches around and sticks the microphone in his face. And he basically says on the microphone, he's like, guys, I'm going to do this on my own tonight, And then,
I didn't need you right there. Right?
Yeah. All right. Then they dap up and everybody leaves. All right. So we know what we're here to talk about. Pac pulls the stairs out and does an overhead belly to belly throw, and Darby Allin hits the stairs spine first on the step side. Not the flat side, the part with the steps.
Metal part.
This was one of the grossest looking things.
The sound too.
I've ever seen. And yet, somehow, it looks safer than a lot of the stuff that a lot of people do.
You're right. Actually, you're right. It's the way
in retrospect,
believe it or not. It's actually, he actually took it. If there's a smart way of taking it, he actually did take it. Sort of smart, even though it's still bad. But
now how he was able to build the proficiency with which he could take this bump, I don't ever want to know that. That must have taken a lot of steel stair practice in the backyard, to perfect the way he took this. But I mean, he took it about as perfectly as a person could ever take a bump like this.
My man,
or most bumps.
Darby is a flexible dude, guys. Let's not forget that. He's flexible. I think he does DDP yoga, so he can do this shit. And you can see, he has to for doing that move.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't see it, might as well go check it out. But it was perfectly done. Like the space, like Pac he knew right where to stand, like where in relation to the stairs.
Right.
But it looked bad. It looked bad.
Sounded
as
bad.
as a fan, but like looking at it, I was like, whew, they did it, That's all anybody really wants to talk about. Oh, there was another fucked up thing though that happened. This was way more dangerous than the stair spot actually. And I'm wondering how Pac's feeling right now, because Darby sometimes does that coffin drop when the guy's laying on the apron.
On the apron.
Now a lot of times the guy will move and Darby will hit the apron and bounce off, which is also very, very dangerous.
That's true.
Pac didn't move and Darby landed right on his arm. And I thought that was more dangerous. That could have really snapped, you know, he could have broke his arm in a couple of places on that. But you know, I guess it was okay. Pac seemed to finish the match with no problems. There was a ref bump. Yuta came in with the chair, got kicked. He Pillmanized Pac while the referee was down, and then he put the scorpion on him, and then
I think he gave him 2 scorpions, wasn't it?
He tried to get I think Yuta came in with the first scorpion, right?
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, true. You're
came
right.
in with the chair.
That's a good point.
And then Darby took him out, drop kicked the chair into him, like Van Daminated him, kind of. And and then broke Pac's ankle, just like Steve Austin and Brian Pillman.
Oh.
That's where the Pillmanized comes from.
Yeah, but did you see where that happened? How Pac and his ankle suddenly was hurt. He jumped off. He was sitting on the turnbuckle.
Drop on the chair on the ankle. So that was a good move. I like that one.
No, but before that, he jumped off. Pac was on the turnbuckle and jumped down off of the turnbuckle while waiting. Do you remember there was a 10 count where he rushed back in the ring? I'm talking about Darby right at 9 before 10. And Pac during that time was sitting on the turnbuckle waiting to see if Darby was going to get back in the ring or not. Gets back in at 9. He jumps off the top and then bang, he acts like he just done his ankle. And he's like limping around and like, And then when Darby put the chair on the wrong leg, straight away, and I wrote this in my notes. I wrote on my notes, actually. I actually did write notes this time. He put on the wrong freaking leg, on the wrong foot. And then Pac had to correct him and be like, no, this leg.
Yeah.
And then puts it on and it was like, it ruined it for me at that point.
That part, that was unfortunate.
So I just had to point that out. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no. Good that you did. What was I going to say? And don't forget also, like, last week, the reason he got this match is because he slammed his shit in the door, and said, I'm going to break it if you. That's one sturdy ankle, though, I'll say that. Anyway, the point is, Pac tapped, and Darby has now made a clean sweep of the Death Riders. Professor, it's not quite winning the title at All In, but at least it's a moral victory. And a literal victory, I guess.
Yeah, I'd rather have the title. This went on.
Hey, Mount Everest was bigger than the title, bro.
Really, Jimmy, you're gonna say that?
That's what he said.
But it is what it is on that, and for the match, we can't, Darby did 2 big spots. You talk about the backdrop to the stairs, but remember I think Pac also did a Razor's Edge onto the stage. So Darby did 2 big moves, which equated to a lot of 100 flippy spots. So we can say that too. So, it's interesting because, you'll talk about other stuff that happened during the Wreckage coverage, but Darby's got to move on, plain and simple. If it ain't for the world title, the only shining light I see for his big moves, I see that TNT title. I see Mark Briscoe, Kung Fu Chicken against Darby Allin's stunt moves. I would book that. That's all that's left for Darby to me.
Well, I don't know. There's that. He's got that John Moxley Continental Classic looking at. He's like, I already beat you once. I can take this from you too.
We'll talk about that, but that, we see there's going to be a little bit of a sidebar to it. But go on, Ben.
We also have a fresh national champion. There's so many ways. It doesn't have to be. Mark Briscoe's got the 1 belt he already did have, so it'd be silly to go back for it. But then again, what did you have anything else you wanted to add, Jimmy, about the match? Or
no, I just wanted to point that out because you guys pretty much explained everything perfectly as you boys do, and it was just that, man. But other than that, it was a good match. But it was just you could just see all the spots, like it was Pac for most of the match. Then the ankle spot happens, and then it's Darby, and then for the win. It's a typical kind of AEW match.
Well, here's something that's not typical. It's he's going to collect a bounty in real time. It's Brian Bakeith versus Hang Person.
This match annoyed me too, by the way.
Yeah. So the thing I never understood about bounties is they want you, like, the psychology of the bounty is like, theoretically, I don't want to deal with you, so I'm paying somebody else to deal with you so I don't have to deal with you anymore. Right. Which I think that the implication there is that it's not so much about winning or losing, but you're supposed to deal with the person, right?
Right.
So every time they do one of these type of things, they just have a regular ass wrestling match. So like as if Brian Keith won.
The art of the bounty is not being done correctly, Jimmy and Vet. And
yes.
But at least they attempted it, because they never did.
In the 80s, I'll give you a perfect example. In the 80s, for the Mid-South Hamin Nights, there was a bounty on Jerry the King Lawler. It was put on him by Jimmy Hart. But it was built around multiple years. And either somebody in the Hart family or somebody coming into the territory was trying to collect that, whether it was Eddie Gilbert, Terry Funk, but you get the gist of it, Jimmy. Multiple people. Now, what bounties are being done right now is Samoa Joe just said, well, Brian Keith is going to cash in this bounty. We don't even know the amount of the bounty or anything, but once Vet talks about this match, the bounty's done. The bounty's over. You don't do bounty angles like that. It doesn't work like that. If you want to pay somebody to take them out, what you're doing is a service, which is attitude-ish. That's APA. You pay me now, I do what I do.
True.
And no refunds, even if I don't do it right. But that's just the thing. They don't do bounties right. Go ahead, Fat. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, because it's important what you're saying, because that ties into the psychology of what they're not doing. Like, if you pay, the whole bounty thing is bullshit to begin with. It always was. Like, you mean to tell me you're doing criminal activity on television and you're just going to pay? Like, how does if I'm Jerry Lawler and I'm the biggest draw in this fucking state and you're trying to take me out, don't you think anybody that's running this company, which is really me, but we want to pretend that there's commissioners or other things going on, like, what, you don't think I got a problem with that? You don't think if it ask Sean Payton how people feel about bounties, okay, in sports, right? So that being said, so what ends up happening here is Big Bill's out there, of course, and because Swerve has now formed an unholy alliance with Hangperson, he is able to neutralize Big Bill in this match so that Hangperson can hit the buckshot lariat on a lower card guy and win, like he obviously would. But the whole thing is like, if you're trying to tell the story of the bounty, the whole story should be about, Brian should be trying to injure Hangman Adam Page instead of just having a normal match. Like, if you're telling me you paid me money to take a guy out, I am not Irish whipping him. I'm going outside and getting the screwdriver that Kyle Fletcher hid, and I'm going to try to stab him right away, because it doesn't matter. If I stab you with the screwdriver or hit you with a wrench or whatever else I do, or choke you with a rope or a chain, or if I have a gun and I shoot you down because I'm dressed like a cowboy, whatever, anything I do, it doesn't matter if I lose the match. I get paid because I finished Page off. That's the whole point of the bounty. If you don't even try to do it, you could tell the story of him trying to do it and he's just not good enough to do it to Page. Like, he could be trying to get DQ'd and Page stopping him, like every time. There's many ways you could do this if you were creative, but nobody's creative. All they do is have a regular wrestling match that they planned out in the back every move. And then they go out there and execute that. And then they rely on the announcers and everybody else to try to tell you what's happening rather than show you the story or something that you can easily understand, or something that's slightly different than something else on the card, Instead of everybody going out there and just doing their paint by number shit, they could be doing different little things. A match could tell a story in many different ways. The only way they know is to just do the moves that they plan out like they would if they were working at a fucking high school gym for $50. So anyway.
And you're spot on too. I just want to quickly add, if it's a bounty, right, and for psychology and story purposes, he shouldn't even be worried about the match, about a normal wrestling match. He should be literally even DQ himself, because at the end of the day, he's going to get a bounty, right? So what if just, okay, so imagine in their logic. Okay, right. So let's say Brian Keith
actually hit his finisher on Page and won 1, 2, 3. Then what? Hangman Page is fine. He's going to still be a threat to Samoa Joe or anybody else. Like, you didn't accomplish fucking shit. So what is losing a match? What, humiliation? Oh, I'm so embarrassed I lost to Brian Keith. I'm quitting the business. Is that what the bounty was?
See, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't, man. It's stupid.
You know
man.
what Tony Khan could have done simplistically, guys? I'm not saying
he overcomplicated it.
Fire everybody involved.
No, besides that, man. But to simplify it for at least for his Dynamite vision, you could have Big Bill have a match against Hangman. Nothing has to be said that Brian Keith has got to have a match, right?
Right, exactly.
So Big Bill could have had the match with Hangman, do all that stuff, and then Brian Keith, B Keith, whatever you call him, he's not even in the corner, guys. He just comes out with a rope or a whip or whatever the case may be. Just do something.
Hog ties
him, takes him out, bleeds him, and you start collecting 5,000 here, maybe 7,500. You could actually build 3 weeks worth of television on Dynamite by taking out Hangman without being in a match, because that's the payoff where Hangman gets the revenge on Brian McKee.
Right. Exactly. Psychology 101 right there.
Jimmy will tell you that long before you joined the show, I said the exact same thing about him. If you're gonna have that gimmick of bounty hunter, remember when I said that? Right, I said anytime one of these people does one of these things, like you know how they'll be doing an interview backstage, then someone will jump them during the interview. Well, obviously they shouldn't be jumping people, so Tony Khan should say, "Hey, I'll pay you a bounty if you bring these people to my office." So you tie them up, bring them to the office, men, women, whatever, anybody. Just Brian Keith, that's his gimmick. Like he's like basically like a stooge, but at least you get some action of like hog tying and like carrying, you know. Yeah.
And you know what else I've noticed too? Before we move on, does AEW ever do disqualifications, man?
They just did one recently.
Oh, they did? Oh, okay. Right. For some reason, it feels like once a blue moon, man. Like, yeah, you hardly ever see it.
Well, remember, the hardcore fans don't like non-finishes.
Oh, well, true. What am I talking about?
not that we would know, because if you never give them a non-finish, how do we know if they like it or not? So whatever. Well, it's just a twisted psychology. It's the same old bullshit narrative stuff. Whatever. We're getting off track here. The show's going to go long. Kenny Omega joins the best friends out in the ring. Yeah, the new best friends. Right. Some old bullshit. He's saying some old, hey, you guys, I want to have whatever. Kenny, you know how Kenny is. He just does that. And then the Don Callis family low tier edition comes out, and yeah, and then he's like, hey, you want to have a match with? Kenny's like, I'll have a match with Josh Alexander, and he's like, that sounds good, but not tonight, next week. So they did the thing where the babyface makes a challenge and everybody gets excited, and then it's the same thing that CM Punk did with Finn Balor, just so everybody's on the same page of where they got this idea. All right. Now, Renee and Brody King happen to run into Jonathan Cruz backstage, and apparently Brody King gets to inform Jonathan Cruz that you are in fact the standby match, which happens after the break. Wow. And then it happens, and it lasts as long as you think it would last. And then I was like, oh no, Brody King's grabbing the mic. Oh no. And then he said some things on the mic, but thankfully it was brief. Yeah. Nobody knows what he said. They weren't listening, but, probably something about Bandito's going to do it tonight, like whatever. So.
I'm just amazed. A standby match again, mid form. The second match of the night becomes a standby match. When you already have a card in place, that second match is slotted as a standby match. Intriguing booking.
Yeah, they thought the bounty match was going to go about 20 minutes longer, so they figured, we'll let Brody King run through Jonathan Cruz real quick. All right, now we got an interesting match here. It's a 4-way tag team match for the number one contendership of a, to the tag team champions FTR.
That's right. Yep.
It's our fresh new tag team of Davis and Doyle, Mark Davis and Jake Doyle. Davis and Doyle, or you could also call them before and after. Like
I like double D's. Is that all right?
Double D's. Yeah. Well, they definitely got some titties on them. Versus Jet Speed versus GOA versus the Young Bucks, Young Bucks are just coming out as a tag team, just are nobody tag team now. Yeah, they still work here. That's the feeling I got watching them come out for this match. It's like, oh yeah, this would be like if Silver and Reynolds came out. It was that much fanfare. But the new guys did win, and then FTR came out and did the belt hold on them. It was one of the rare times the belt hold didn't work because they got into a brawl and then security had to come out. Normally when you use the belt hold on somebody, that's like holding up Medusa's head. They just there's nothing you could do to the belt hold, but Davis and Doyle are immune, Jimmy, and
immune, and they win surprisingly. Or should I be surprised? But you know what, boys? And before I give it to you, Prof, well, I will give it to you now. But is this a good pairing of Davis and Doyle? I'm, looking at them, they look like a tag team, but can they be a big deal? Could they be even the next Chronic from WCW, if you want to call it that? Since, they got similar names, similar looks.
Well, if they're going to be Chronic, they're going to have to do bounties, and they're going to have to collect.
True.
So, number one. But I'll say this, Jimmy, I do like the pairing of Davis and Doyle, or the double Ds. I'll call them that. Maybe I'll get some residuals on that one for the double Ds. But they got the look. And the funny thing, they look like brothers. I mean, they have the same, the facial expression. They just look like brothers right there. And I hate to say it, Mark Davis being paired with Doyle is way better than Aussie Open.
It's true. I agree.
Aussie Open probably was over in New Japan, and I'll go to you guys.
And in the UK.
Okay, thank you. At least I felt like that. I'm not saying they're going to be the best tag team in the world this year, but Davis and Doyle, they just have the look. It's just a nice look. It's a fresh outlook, a fresh coat of paint to the tag team division. They're not going to beat the FTR. It's just a filler for what I want and what everybody wants. Give me what I want. I'm Batista here. I want Edge and Christian to get their match against FTR. We're just wasting our time.
I agree with that. It's taking way too long.
Goddamn Edge book tour with that book. I ain't buying that book tour, Edge. Just get back, do your match.
By the way, Vic, before you move on, do you actually like the pairing? I don't care at all. $0. Skyflight challenges Callis families. Talking of $0. Then we get the Triangle of Madness, Jimmy, if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Dark Triangle.
The Dark Triangle of Madness.
I'm scared.
Versus the Cosmic Babes. I guess the announcers put that over from that fan sign. Professor, you had a name for them yourself. What was that? Cosmic Babes were the something of Wrath or Wrathlanders
the Stat Wrath.
Stat Wrath. No, that wasn't it. It was something on Twitter. I saw it.
I thought it was. Or something stat related. I remember.
Obviously, it wasn't too serious of an intellectual property for the professor. So we'll just go with Cosmic Babes for now until
Kevin Murray.
Yeah. Statlander the story of this match was that Statlander saves Willow from a spear from Tekla, shoves her out of the way, heroically eating a spear, and then she gets stomped, a toxic stomp by one of the 8 legs of the spider. And 1, 2, 3, pinfall victory over the champ for Tekla. She's a contender, Jimmy. No?
Please.
Everybody likes Tekla now. I've seen a couple of people make a mention of her attractiveness for some reason.
I saw that. Apparently, what was it, J12? You like to be wrapped up in a web?
No, Kevin Marty. No, yeah, J12.
It was J12. Kevin
Marty said he wants his time back. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't blame you, bro.
I think we could say this. It's a fresh look for the women's title picture. Again, you don't have Mercedes Moné like, you know, with her sabbatical or her spring or winter break. Jimmy, we can use that now. I don't know why she's taking a break. You know, she's the best wrestler, as I said so. But you know, neither here nor there. But it's a fresh coat of paint. But I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I look at why they're trying to rehash the friendship. Like Stat is trying to, you know, I guess regain the trust of Willow Nightingale. Is that where we're going with this? Is that the story, that she's trying to regain her trust? Because she's already friendly with Harley Cameron, so she doesn't have to earn her trust. We get the story, we get the past history that Stat betrayed Willow Nightingale and that friendship disintegrated and they had their match. But again, Stat's holding something that Willow will eventually want herself. So
right, it's going to lead to them to going at it again.
It could lead to them to even try to fight for that, maybe title for title. Right. I don't see that, but is Stat just trying to regain her trust? Because I'm not really into it. I'm not really into that.
Professor, I do love you, but I hate when you put me in the position of having to dignify any of this bullshit with a real response, but I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
No, she's already regained the trust. Like, that part's over. We're now friends again. We've moved on past the I don't know if I can trust you thing. So we're in the phase of like, we're just enjoying the friendship and the reunion. That's where we're at. Why is it like that? Statlander never really turned on Willow per se, not in the traditional pro wrestling sense of like, I'm going to clothesline you and the fans are going to be shocked and boo. Like that's how every wrestling turns. It's a clothesline, right? So we didn't get really any of that. It was more of like, if I remember correctly, it was more of like the Stat was
Stokely like feeding the flames and siding with Stat. I remember that vividly.
Yeah.
And once Willow lost the TBS title the first time to Mercedes, then Stat clotheslined her, what you're talking about. But it wasn't the traditional match turn.
Yeah, so like, you know, they had their thing or whatever, but it's over now because what they thought they were doing, like this, what this reeks of to me, this reeks of people pitching their angles. Like, I feel like this is something that like Stat and Willow maybe came up with and brought it to Tony. Like, hey, could we do this? And he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then he doesn't care about it as much as they do. So whenever they try to do the stuff on TV, it doesn't come off like it's a priority, or like maybe they pictured it going differently, you know, like maybe they pictured it playing out differently or having a different presentation, but because it's not a priority and the announcers are just like, oh, whatever, like it's just not as dramatic as they hoped. So I think that's
like they have creative control that Tony Khan says that nobody in AEW has. He has this final say.
Well, he also says he takes in a lot of ideas, you know, and that's exactly it. It's like, for guys like that, when it's not your idea, it's human nature generally, and not always. A lot of people need collaboration, like they welcome it. But in general, I feel like if it's not your idea, it's not a priority. Now, that doesn't mean you don't care about it. It doesn't mean you don't want to do it. It just means like he's off in the weeds thinking about the Death Riders or whatever bullshit he wants to do, or, you know, what other people are doing. And so the Stat and Willow thing is like, it's everything to them if it's their idea, but for Tony, it's just another part of the show. So that, like what I said, when I brought up that match, you know, where, you know, Willow won the title, and I'm sure in Willow and Statlander's mind, they pictured that WrestleMania 20 Eddie Guerrero and Benoit hug, you know, because that's what it almost looked like. That's what they wanted to do, but it was so half-assed. It was so half-assed that I don't think anybody got that from it. So I think we're supposed to already be in that, like, okay, everything's cool, we're friends again, but it didn't come off that way, which is why you're still like, wait, what happened? That's my best answer.
Thank you, Vet. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Renee is with jet speed, and Swerve immediately interrupts anything these guys have to say to put them over with a nice pep talk, calling Kevin Knight the future and whatnot, and Bailey's also here. And then Hang Person interrupts the interruption to be like, I challenge you to Ops for the Trios titles on Collision. And I'm sure everybody at home was probably like, well, that came out of nowhere. But as we talked about at the beginning of the show, now we all know it's like, well, Hobbs is leaving, so we need to get this belt off him, and we're just going to do this real quick and shoot this angle real quick for no reason other than to get the belt off of Hobbs and move on. And Hobbs, obviously, professional, is going to do what he needs to do. We get a short little promo letting you know, not even a promo, it's just like a mention. It's like, hey, you guys know the Rascals, right? They're coming.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that before because we're meant to touch on that.
Yeah.
Well, they're here.
Huh?
Is it going to move the needle like
no,
Tony
not at all.
Thinks?
No, not one bit. Not even a little. There is no needle.
They can't even give us They can't even give us an actual vignette. Instead, we just get writing, like just a graphic.
Well, they probably found out at the last second.
Oh, okay.
No, they didn't find out the last. Yeah, they just showed up there. Like apparently, they were there that night on Wednesday because obviously they did the Collision tapings probably the same night. So
they did.
Anyways, we'll get to that in a second. And by a second, I mean several minutes. But the main event here is Bandito versus MJF for the AEW Championship. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I wasn't really that invested in it. So I don't have much details other than, we know that Bandito's got the gimmick shoulder injury and MJF worked on that, and he actually won with the Salt of the Earth for probably the first time ever. I don't recall him ever beating anybody with that except for like if they would bring in a job guy so that he could have like a 2-minute match right before he cut a promo or something. That's the only time he's ever beat anybody with. I don't think he's ever tapped out anybody of any major significance with the Salt of the Earth in my memory.
Not for years anyway.
But at least it made sense here because the guys had pre-existing conditions for however long. So it's like.
But what killed me for this match was the finish at the end with the little promo with MJF saying, you know what, putting Bandito over. Are you kidding me? Like, yeah, he hit him after that. But why? So we're going to take Bandito now as like on his level now? Like, is that what's happening now? For me, that irked me.
Well, no one's on the level of the devil, but
that's right.
Well, that's true, Vet. But what he was trying to salvage, I got to use that word, salvage something that's so predictable that Vet, I knew was going to happen. MJF was going to win. He was going to still be the champion. So you're going to try to validate something. So this was I'm going to use that strong performance from Bandito because we've been saying this for the last couple of months that Tony Khan loves the work of Bandito and he sees greener pastures for Bandito in some kind of capacity. He had a good look. I mean, even when he came in, I think he had the Aztec Batman suit on before even the match started with his ring gear and stuff like that, which was a nice look nice. But again, the match is so insignificant because we all knew it was so predictable. But here's the problem with this because, again, it goes back to what he already did with Mystico. What was he trying to do with Mystico? Try to take the mask off. What did he do after this match? Try to take the mask off. And now you're going to try to build heat towards that. And then, of course, the Brodito combination, Brody King got to come out and save his little baby brother, if you will. So where are we going to go with that? Of course, Brody King, he wanted to fight Bandito for the title. He wished Bandito would be the AEW champion, but MJF is there. So Brody King has got to, he's got to target everything on MJF and get revenge for Bandito.
Before you go into Collision, should MJF as a killer heel, you know what I mean? Like he's supposed to be this big heel in the company, actually put over Bandito in any way whatsoever, considering his promo that he did, hence why he attacked him after that, because he's labeled him as a threat to his world championship in the future.
Yes. because because you didn't beat anybody, right? If you belittle them and say they're nobody, then you didn't beat anybody. So even a heel wants to look like they're credible,
Okay.
So, but he, that's the thing. The way he did it was designed for you to be like, oh, MJF doesn't normally say things like this.
Right.
So that he's like, then when he turns it again, you're like, oh, you motherfucker, I hate you still, like the whole idea is to manipulate the people. So I don't mind that. Putting over a baby face is not, it's not completely unheard of. People have always liked Bandito. It's he's to me, he's not like, I don't look at him as a major star, but not because of anything he's doing. It's just, just the nature of there's so many people right now that are so good, and Bandito's decent, but even before AEW, like when Ring of Honor hadn't been bought by Tony yet, they made him the champ. Ring of Honor made him the champ. Like they're already, they had their eggs in the Bandito basket. So it's not, it's not surprise. He's clearly a well-liked guy. People want to work with him. They like him. So, I don't have a problem with that. And it's good because it's like, this is where this would belong. Like if you want to give Bandito a mini push towards the top of the title and just let him put his toe in the water at the main event level, you could do that here on a nice Dynamite. You don't build a pay-per-view around it necessarily because nobody's going to pay for it, but it's good showcase. Maybe Bandito's gained some fans. So I think everything about this was fine. But it's just standard pro wrestling stuff.
If anybody
tear it apart.
If anybody needed a bounty, it was MJF to put a bounty on Bandito and Brad McKeith cash in that bounty. That's the way you do it.
Because he's a bandit, right?
But these guys, these guys have already done all this, and you just forgot about it because it was buried in the middle of another TV show months ago.
I forgot that.
It's fine, but it's okay because we have a Maximum Collision to get through very quickly.
Yeah.
Such as Andrade versus Angelico. Andrade got through him very quickly. As a matter of fact, he played with his food. He was like, I could have beat this guy on the first pinfall, but I'm going to pull him up and do more moves to him. So that's a way to get a little bit more mileage, but rather than just have a longer competitive match, you're telling a story psychologically, right? You're saying this match should have been over. That's what people are saying about most matches anyway. Like when we're watching a wrestling match and it just goes for a long time and you're just like, why are these guys still in this match through 2 commercial breaks? Fuck, take it home. Instead of that, they're telling you I could have beat this guy minutes ago and now I'm getting heat. Fuck you. Could have beat him. I'm going to drag this out. Then when Angelico takes advantage of him playing with his food, it's like, yeah, see? That's what you get for not beating a guy with, classic pro wrestling stuff. What is up with Collision and doing classic pro wrestling these past several weeks? But apparently
it's 101, man. Classic pro wrestling.
That's the Collision difference. And Andrade's great. Looks like $1 billion.
And the best spot of that, guys, was during the match. He made fun of his ex-father-in-law, Ric Flair. He's going to try to do the figure 4 and then said, nah, I'm too big.
And he told the crowd, tranquilo, chill.
Yeah. All right, so there was that.
Oh wait,
I was gonna move on.
We got a super sticker.
Whoa,
we do. We actually do. It is Labrat with the $5 super sticker. Thank you, bro. Very much.
Hey, you guys can't see. Well, Jimmy can't see. I don't know if Professor has the YouTube comments pulled up, but it's the sticker is of a little Super Nintendo controller, but the Super Nintendo controller has his arm in a sling. Kind of like Bandito, And maybe Labrat chose that sticker for Bandito because the little Super Nintendo controller's got his arm in a sling.
Hold on, why can't I see that?
You just got to go to YouTube itself.
How did you know that I wouldn't be able to see it? That's weird. But anyway,
I always have the. Well, because Ray always asks.
Oh, okay.
Because he doesn't have the thing pulled up either. Anyways, Lexi meets with the Rascals, minus Trey Miguel, of course. Now, I forget because I heard the news story, but is Trey coming? And he just wasn't there?
Yes. No, he's coming.
Oh,
because
we should. No, there is something. Because what Beth's saying, because Trey, he deleted his tweets acknowledging going to AEW.
But they signed all 4 of them, though. I'm sure of it.
Oh, Trey is the question mark, Jimmy. He deleted any acknowledgement of AEW. So I think Tony might have just signed those 3.
Oh, that sucks for him. Oof.
I don't know. Again, this could be a elaborate work, guys. I'm just going with what I saw on Twitter. So just take it with a grain of salt.
And also, Trey's the guy that didn't go to NXT. If you remember that.
True too.
That's true.
Now, Myron Reed is the honorary Rascal. He's not part of the Rascals originally. So, they also, speaking of Myron Reed, they also signed Jordan Oliver and some other indie guy that and MJF did some show and announced that those guys were signed. So
they also signed who was it again? The cheek man has been on the last couple of weeks.
Zeta
Steel.
That's the one. There you go. They signed her as well.
They signed him. We get a quick little refresher package just to catch everybody up for the grizzled young veterans. Grizzled, Jimmy. Grizzled.
The grizzled young crappos. I mean, I don't know why they're all over Collision every week, but god damn it, I hate
awesome
them.
Classic pro wrestlers. And they're taking on Kingston Ortiz, of course, the Froless Ortiz. I'm going to say, whatever about this match, right, is fine. Classic pro wrestling, whatever you want to say. First time I've ever seen, you know how these referees lately, not counting too fast, all these these screw ups that these referees these days have been making, right? And NXT, AEW, they just don't know how to count anymore. They're blowing it. Guys, in all of my life of watching wrestling of 40 plus years, I've never seen a referee fuck up the 3 arm raise spot when somebody's in a sleeper before. They had James Drake had Eddie Kingston in this weird clutch thing with the leg or whatever it's called. So whatever British bullshit that's called. Had him in this hold. Eddie Kingston did the 1, 2, not down. And then it's down. And then the referee, again, right. Yes, it was like that was supposed to get broken up or something. I don't know what was going on, but then he just did it again. He's like, lift him up 1.
It goes down once. It goes down twice
again,
and it goes down again.
Yeah, it didn't go all the way down the 3rd time, the 2nd time either. But they finally figured out, okay, yeah, we got to do that. I've never seen anybody blow that.
I mean,
was that an Ortiz mess up? Was Ortiz supposed to save Eddie Kingston from
I can't remember now because I don't remember what happened after that. I guess Ortiz may have missed a spot. I guess
it looked like that because it felt like the referee was doing this for 6 times, Jimmy. That's what it was like. 1.
It was 6 times, literally.
6. It was like, wait, what are we doing here? Oh wait,
it was twice, but 6 times with the arm drop.
See, what had happened was the arm, the hand was up on the air. The arm wasn't flat on the floor. So by the professor's rules, it's Article 4, Section Z, that if the hand is not totally on the floor, it's an NWA rule. It goes back to George Hackenschmidt. It's still.
If you show life, you have to start all over from 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
I get it.
Exactly.
No, I get it.
Exactly.
I get it. It was just a little bit awkward to see for the first time in my life, so I'm processing it. But in any case, obviously, Ortiz. This is kind of funny. Not gonna lie, they didn't get a good shot of it, but maybe it's good that they didn't. But at some point, Ortiz was on the outside and he had the mad balls, which is just I guess baseballs in a sock, but he fucking hit one of them. They came towards the ropes. He bopped them real quick, like before the referee could see it. And then Eddie gave him a DDT and they won. So they did cheat to win, even though I don't think the Grizzly Young Veterans cheated, but hey, you know, they're from New York. What can you say? Professor, you sometimes you just got to hit guys with baseballs in a sock, right? That's just the way it is in the streets.
A sock full of coins. It's a New York thing, so you got to do it the right way. So I have no problem with
just not visual enough. That's why they use the balls.
Yeah.
Coins would hurt way more than the balls, and the balls would hurt too.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, like I said in the beginning, a fro-less Eddie Ortiz just, you know, doesn't do it for me. You got to grow the fro back so this way you can have a look. Kingston and Ortiz without a fro. I mean, and Eddie Kingston just needs some dreads. If he has dreads and Ortiz has got a fro, we got a look now. We got a tag team look.
What the hell happened to Mike Santana? I swear he was in TNA, not fat. Anyway. But
what's up, Malaka Jones? He says it's me, X to the Z. Why you exhibit?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Yo, I heard you like AEW, so we went and got you a podcast with 3 hosts. All right.
He also says the vet's beer, the professor's voice, and Jimmy's laugh, the best in the biz. Thank you, Malaka. That sounds weird, me saying that.
It sounds weird that Chris Statlander would say after Dynamite last week, this was last week. They're letting you know this was last week after the match. Statlander said, I would take a bullet for either of you guys.
Aww.
Yeah. Oh.
That's cute.
And then she said, bring on the toxicity.
This is what I said when she said that statement, but that's all I just wanted to say. That's why why we rehashing something that, like you said, is already over.
Yeah. Well, Professor Spotlight. Shivani brings out FTR and Stokely. Take it away.
Stokely in a wheelchair, you know, FTR comes out, you know, the place goes crazy. 1,000 people chanting FTR, FTR, FTR. I do. You had it on mute. You always watch things like it in double voice, so you didn't watch it.
The speed just muted it, I guess.
The speed muted it. Basically, Stokely was actually giving props to the Double Ds. He respects them. He respects their gangster, but you know what? It's just not their time. And of course, we have to be reminded by Dax the Axe how they're the greatest tag team. They're the anchors of AEW, and it's just not your time, boys. It's not the Double D's time. So whenever that time comes, you'll lose to the best tag team in wrestling because SI says so and ESPN says so, because Dax is going to remind you that both of those publications has made them the tag team of the year.
Well, it's not just them saying it. Sports Illustrated says it.
And
yeah.
Yeah. Well, J12 says, I heard Dax the Ass Softwood deleted his Twitter. What's up with that?
Oh, no. True? Did he?
Yeah,
I gotta check that out quickly, man.
I don't know if he deleted it. I think he might have like suspended it.
Suspended
it for himself. Like he just does not want to get those comments.
Well,
yeah, when you try to delete your account, whatever social media, they're like, you know, would you rather suspend it? It's a little bit better than deleting it because you can undo it. Yeah. They always want to talk you into staying. It's like when you try to leave your service providers or whatever, they're like, I'm taking my talents to, you know, I don't know, T-Mobile or whatever. They're like, oh, no, wait a minute. All right.
It's not coming up for me. I think it is gone.
Hey, what, do you doubt the professor?
No.
I don't know. Again, if he, some people said he just downright quit Twitter, but I thought he might have suspended. You know how you do that. Like you said, Vet, it's not good business because he has 100,000 followers. You got to build that up. It's still a brand. Why are you going to delete it? And then if you're going to come back again, and then, you know, got to build up your brand again. Well,
listen, I'm going to say this. I know he looks old, but I'm older than him. So let me give him some advice, okay, from a veteran kid. When people are hurting your feelings so bad on social media, you don't have to suspend your account. What you do is you go in your Twitter, okay? Go in the little X thing. There's a notifications icon, this little bell in the bottom, okay? Hit the bell. That's your notifications, okay? You probably have 600,000 of them of people telling you how bad you suck, right? No, that's too many people. Nobody knows who you are. So then you hit the bell, And then when you hit the bell, you hit the little, you just scroll right to the top, and then you're all caught up, and then you can ignore them all, and you can just move on with your life. If you missed anything important, those people will get back at you. You don't have to worry about it. All those hate comments and stuff, you could just blow right by them. You don't have to suspend your account. Anyways, remember Crew, guys? Remember them?
Yeah.
Well, they're back with one important difference. Lacey Lane, one half of the greatest women's tag team of all time, the K-Sounds.
K-Sounds.
That's
so
right.
Back to the next level, actually, as a matter of fact.
That's right. Greatest women's tag team of all time. And everybody knows it that's listened to the Next Level Wrestling review. But she's here with Crew, and they are not one of the tag teams. They're one of the tag teams of all time. They're not one of the greatest tag teams of all time. But in fairness, they're just getting started. And I don't even think they had their Koopa jackets on here, did they?
Oh, no, they didn't.
Oh, yeah. Well,
one was wearing a t-shirt. The other one was wearing a jacket.
Yeah, I can't be bothered then. If they're not going to wear the jackets, I don't want to hear it. Next match is Zeta Steele, you said recently signed, and she gets a little mini vignette like, "Hi, I'm Zeta Steele." And then they go into the match against Marina Shafir. You know what happens here. It's time to suck some titties.
Mother's milk. Yeah.
Suck these titties, bitch.
Suck these titties, bitch.
Yep.
I will say this, Jimmy and Vet. Marina Shafir has improved leaps and bounds for the professor to like her.
I think she has too, absolutely.
And if she does not
Professor's
get that
perspective here.
Yep. If she does not get that TBS title, there's an injustice. I'm not saying she should be the world champion. That's a little bit too high. I'm setting the bar a little bit lower, Vet. So, the TBS title would be perfect, especially for the Death Riders and what they're going to do for that. But she's improved, and the professor's liking her, Vet. So I think that TBS belt is right there. If she doesn't get that, is a travesty. It's an injustice for her. All that stuff that she does, all that engagement that she gets from the fans, even though she flips them off all the time, they love to be flipped off. And like you said, we love some titties. We love some mother's milk. I love that move. Utilize it. Capitalize it.
They did. They beat her real quick. Yeah, I mean, I like Marina. I've been like Marina. I thought when Marina and Jessamine were a tag team, I was like, okay, we could do something with this. But then they never developed them. They did Ronda dirty in the WWE from basically not day one, but like everything after one.
But remember this. Just like Roman Reigns years ago with the Suffering Succotash, she had that drizzling promo in AEW. She's like, you know who I am? You know where I'm from? You know what I went through? It took years.
You don't know me.
You don't know me, huh?
You
don't know me promo. It took her a long time to recover from that. And this Death Rider thing was heaven sent. That's all I'll just say with that.
Well, you're making it sound like AEW was some household thing that everybody knew that she had to get over.
You had to watch on YouTube though.
Yeah, it's only for us in the bubble that really remember that.
And by the way, Malaka Jones, yes, it is Rousey's buddy.
Yeah, man, they really, Anyway, whatever. We're behind schedule. So Fireman Fred was out there at the desk for the whole match there, and Don Callis was also there on the other side, and they started arguing on either side of the desk, and then Archer and Romero jumped Moxley, and then there's a whole schmoz. But there's also supposed to be another match, which is Josh Alexander, El Clone, and Kyle Fletcher making his return from concussion protocol after getting dumped on his head by Fireman Fred at the pay-per-view. He's done with, he's now clear of his concussions so he can wrestle again. And they're taking on Skyflight. Josh hits C4 on one of them. And then Takeshita makes his big return. And he gets in the ring and everybody's like, what's going to happen? And he gives Kyle Fletcher a hug and he raises everybody's hand and he's part of the family. Takeshita's part of the family still.
There's a little nuance. There's a little nuance. He kind of dismissed Don Callis and went straight to Fletcher, which creates great intrigue. And like I said, we've been saying this since World's End. Remember, Jimmy, I said this. Somebody's leaving that Don Callis family. Now he looked like, and now you have too many people. You know, you got the 100 of Don Callis against what, 4 or 5 of the Death Riders. Not a good number. So someone's gonna have to jump ship. You're already seeing who might jump ship, Jimmy. Takeshka. And now he's trying to do some backup for the Don Callis family, and that's Kyle Fletcher. Maybe both of them will leave.
So is it official now that we can say officially that the Death Riders are baby faces now?
No, you can have
nothing's official.
Nothing is official. True.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, Lexi is with Strong Orange, and Roderick Strong officially is still not down with the conglomeration. And he tries to walk off, but Mark Briscoe corrals him back and cuts a 10 out of 10 Mark Briscoe promo. I couldn't recreate it if I wanted to.
Catchphrase too.
But he basically calls out El Clone. So Mark Briscoe saying he's trying to reign and defend. So El Clone, I'm coming for you, baby. You know, or whatever he says. MJF does a quick sort of one of those weird voiceover promos over a vignette or a montage or whatever.
He calls himself a traveling champion, Vin.
It's a traveling champion. Yeah. He went to traveled, he championed, and then he signed 2 guys, I guess. He signed 2 guys. Jordan Oliver and the other one.
And they're pretty tiny too, just quietly.
Yeah. All right. Danielle Camella and Viva Van versus Megalope. That's right. Penelope is back and she's allowed to wrestle again. And she didn't miss the Doomsday device. That's a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. And then the Love Bombs come out and challenge them to a match and do their Love Bomb dancing foolishness too. Any thoughts? Anybody?
You didn't mark out because wasn't that chick from NXT? The other girl?
I don't know. Is it? Who is that?
She was called Vanessa Bourne. She was called Vanessa Bourne in NXT, and then she got cut.
Oh shit, that's her?
Yeah.
Right, which one? Daniela Camella, Prof?
Then Daniela Camella, I think so. I think she's Vanessa Bourne from NXT.
I forgot all about her.
I'll look that up.
And I certainly didn't recognize her at 2 times the speed.
Oh boy.
So she's lucky I wrote her name down. I actually wrote that shit down. Danielle Camella. But yeah. Yeah, pretty lady. Not much of a wrestler.
You're right, by the way, Professor. It is Vanessa Bourne.
Yeah. Lexi's with Swerve and Nana. And, Kevin Knight comes in and he's like, hey, you said I was the future, but I say the future's now. And he's like, Swerve's like, all right, well, go get a strong win. Referring to his match later. I'm paraphrasing all this quickly. Ricochet joins the desk for Jungle Jack versus Anthony Bowens. No longer carrying framed copies of Gay Times or anything else.
Yeah.
This match, if you were to look at this match happening from an outside perspective, you didn't know anything about these guys.
No.
This would look like Anthony Bowens was fighting his post-workout banana. if he was making a post-workout protein shake, right? And he's going to take a banana and he's going to put it in the blender. And the banana feared for his life and it jumped at him and started trying to fight him. Like, don't blend me. That's what this match looked like. About the same size and shape of a banana.
Oh, shit.
No?
Well, the banana fucking put on the fight. I mean, the banana ended up freaking winning.
Yes. I'm saying, I was shocked.
You said that's a strong banana, Jimmy? A strong
banana.
Banana. Exactly.
Yeah, the banana beat Anthony Bowens with that knee, that running knee he does that's gayer than anything Anthony Bowens has ever done.
It should be the name of the finisher. Gayer than anything. I like it.
Yeah.
But this was the comment of the day.
Then the banana Perry versus Bowens, this match was missing testosterone. Well,
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know about that because Anthony Bowens is definitely, well, let's put it this way. I'm pretty sure he's the top, right? Like he's got all the physique. He's got all the muscles. I don't think he's ever, and I know he's no stranger to bananas of all types, but I just, guys, the problem is you can't on the surface visually take this seriously.
You can't. You actually can't. That's true. Really, you can't, man.
Did he win with the banana smoothie? Was that the movie?
Or was it the banana split?
When you take a concussive blow to the head like that, your brain kind of gets shook up like a smoothie,
There you go.
Yeah.
So
my head hurts, man.
So anyway, after the banana hits the knee on Bowens, he goes and leaps on Ricochet at the desk.
Oh,
then Ricochet has to fight the banana.
That's his new name from now on.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I may have started something here.
You have hashtag Captain Jack Banana.
I mean, bananas are found in jungles also, so it's not like completely out of the. Do you guys have anything to add?
Oh, just that banana lives matter, like the Jupiter says.
I mean, they matter so much they get booked on top.
Oh man!
I didn't want to say anything about tops or power bottoms, so go on. I'm good.
All right.
Hashtag blend me.
Death Rider promo on the Don Callis family. They all take their turns, but like Professor said, it's a group versus an army at this point. Small resistance force. The Death Riders. Maybe they are. Maybe just by numbers alone, they're baby faces. Who knows, Jimmy?
Again, we got to recruit. We got to recruit too. And I told you, Takeshita and they're not going to be in the Death Riders, but you're going to have some allies. You can have
Takeshita. They're too clean cut to be part of the Death Riders, shall we say?
I only hope for this feud. I do not want to hear anything about the spirit of AEW is on the line from the Death Riders, or we're gonna save, the company of AEW because the Death Riders weren't even trying to save the company.
They're the saviors now of the company.
They're the saviors of AEW. They better not be the saviors of AEW because that makes no goddamn sense. I'm just gonna say that.
That's exactly what they are, bro.
Well, it doesn't make sense if they say it or not.
Yeah,
nothing that makes sense here. But we do have the trio of Jet Speed Person versus the Ops here for the trios title, hastily made on Wednesday, hastily done on Saturday. My goodness, Hobbs goes for a backdrop and Kevin Knight gives him a sunset flip out of nowhere. This didn't even have the flow of a finish. It just happened out of nowhere. Kevin Knight pins Hobbs. Thank you for your services, Hobbs. Now get the fuck out of here. Give us that belt before you leave. That's basically what it was. Your new trios champions. Hank, this is the most selling I've seen Hank Person do. He was like, what? Dude. Yeah. He looked like he was surprised.
Yeah.
Like no one told him Hobbs was leaving. Like, what? Kevin Knight, you won with a sunset flip.
He was too happy for my liking, to be honest. And really, it's such a stupid tag team combination, but yeah.
But besides the match, what happened on Twitter was actually more intriguing, guys. So I'll just say this because I think a lot of people were on their phones, Jimmy, and they were on the Fightful tweets and stuff like that because news of Hobbs leaving AEW broke. I don't know if it was during this match or they got the gist of it during the tapings. But once this match started, there was another tweet. I don't forget who shared this, but once they heard that Hobbs was leaving, once this match happened, guys, they all left the building. Hundreds of fans were leaving the building during this match starting. That's all I'm just gonna say. I'm not saying if it was true or not, but you see those tweets, you see a lot of misinformation, guys. So I'm not trying to say I co-sign it, but it's just very funny that if they heard this tweet that Hobbs was leaving, they left when this match was going on. It's kind of funny to me.
Also,
I don't know if there was hundreds of fans to leave, but
yeah,
the thing.
They're the only fan base too, the Seekers I'm talking about, that absolutely turn on the wrestlers, absolutely leave their company. You know, shouldn't it be all right if you like someone? Shouldn't you follow them? You know what I mean, to the other company, and hopefully they do well. Not these guys, not these fan base.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they were Hobbs fans to begin with, but
well, that's true.
What I do want to say is, I don't keep up as much on the social media, so normally things find their way to me rather than the other way around. But one thing I don't recall, with all these things out there, like people talking about Chris Jericho, is he going to show up in WWE? Maybe, I don't know. You know, like all this bullshit of these people just saying shit like, well, this could happen or it could not. One thing I didn't hear about any of this, it's like I was blindsided by, it's like, oh yeah, Hobbs is done with AEW and he's going to WWE. What? Overnight. Same thing with the Rascals. Like, yep, Rascals ain't re-signing with TNA. Where was everybody telling us this weeks in advance? I didn't see anybody saying this. Did you guys?
No.
No, it was really out of nowhere, for real.
So you know, that's what I'm saying. To go back full circle to the beginning of this show, what we were talking about with these dirt sheets and paying $15 a month and shit. What are you paying for? They didn't hint that any of this shit was happening. They found out after you. They're telling you it's already happened, right? They're the ones who's supposed to tell you, hey, I heard Hobbs is getting ready to leave AEW this week. Hey, I heard that the Rascals are done with TNA and they'll be showing up in AEW.
There was nothing.
Ain't nobody saying that.
Right.
So I'm just, you know, any of these signings, right? We're just talking, even though they're minor, like you could be considered minor, like the Zeta Steels or the, you know, Vanessa Bournes or, you know, whoever else is just showing up here, there, whatever. Like, oh yeah, look who signed. We're finding out like on TV as I'm watching this, like ain't nobody reporting this shit. They want to report on the podcast sound bites, but they don't want to talk about real. You ain't got no sources, or your sources ain't giving you nothing.
Nothing. And I think it's getting like that now in all the way around pro wrestling. I think the dirt sheet should be worried now about information. They're starting to close the door a lot on big information getting out, which is a good thing.
It is, but it's like the dirt sheets aren't going away. We still got to deal with them, even though they're providing us nothing. This kind of thing, like finding out Hobbs is going to WWE. That's the kind of thing that you would pay somebody to know in advance of it happening.
Absolutely.
Like if I wanted to know, if I care that much about industry news, which that's what the Observer was supposed to be, industry news, because they were writing, you know, After Mags, WWF magazine in the 80s. Those were kayfabe magazines.
No, kayfabe, right? Absolutely.
And the industry was Dave was supposed to tell you what's really going on, right? We know this guy is in Tony Khan, you know, in his ear and vice versa. So if he doesn't know that these things are going, then the reason you didn't hear about it is because Tony said, don't say anything.
Exactly.
So it's not like I'm saying Dave didn't know. What I'm saying is people are paying him for this. And this proves that he will not give it to you, even though you paid for it. Can you imagine going to McDonald's and saying, a Big Mac, please? Sure. That's $29 or whatever it costs now. And then they just like, all right, thank you. And they don't give you a sandwich? Like, really?
They give you a picture. Here's a picture of it. Take the $29.
Yeah, we're not kicking you out yet. You can stare at the menu, the beautiful digital menu a little longer.
Yeah.
The good old days. Let's not forget the good old days, guys. At least in the 90s. Mean Gene's 900 number and the ECW hotline.
Hey,
that was actually money well spent.
That was money well spent. Give you information. Funny enough. It's true. I agree with that. But anywho, I think that's a wrap though, boys. Did we give Maximum Wreckage to everybody? I think we did. We went overtime. There wasn't even a pay-per-view. Right, overrun, like AEW.
All your guys' YouTube DVRs have cut this off if you didn't set it to record.
Today, is anything going on today with you?
well, I might be on Twitch a little bit later. You never know. At Opinion Haver everywhere. Anywhere you want to follow me, please do. And if you know of anybody that's leaving any wrestling companies, you can tweet me at Opinion Haver or Instagram me at Opinion Haver or any of the other platforms of your choice at Opinion Haver and let me know. And you definitely want to check out the Impact Attack. So you could hear the scathing review. I've already got an entire episode's worth of material just on the part that I watched. I don't even need to watch the rest, but I can do a whole show just on the AJ Styles and the Open. But besides that, I will be reviewing the rest of the AMC debut with Brandon at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. And then you're going to want to check out myself and Ray Hernandez on the Next Level Wrestling Review at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, every Wednesday, where we will talk about NXT and we will compare and contrast like how this quote unquote partnership is going with TNA and who's getting what out of what. Meantime, check out Wrestling with Ray Rogers every Friday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Timmy Baltimore guest hosting this past week. Before that, nice interview with Eric Watts. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to check that out, you're going to want to go back and listen to that as well. All free, not $14.99 a month. Free. You just go watch it on YouTube. So please go like and subscribe and leave comments over there. And check out Stevie Richards' show. I'm sure he and James would be happy to have you. Doing wonderful work. Roddy Piper Part 2 this week. Covering the career of Roddy Piper and all the interesting things there, as long as other topical stuff of the day, including Bruce Pritchard saying why it's important to just have 4 wrestling matches on a show. Then you're going to want to check out Limpin' Ain't Easy with Timmy Baltimore, although he was on Wrestling with Rogers this week, but I'm sure whenever he gets a new episode up, you'll be the first to know if you have subscribed and click the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever a new episode of Limpin' Ain't Easy drops. And that's it for me. What about you guys?
Prof, tell them what you're doing with the reflection this week.
Well, we just dropped an episode and go on my YouTube channel at Pro Wrestling Reflection, where we did a pro wrestling spotlight, greatest heel turns back at Royal Rumble 94, where Owen Hart betrays Big Brother Bret Hart. So we're going to be talking about that. So, follow me on the Twitter at PWSOPRF, that's PWSOProf, or just follow and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Pro Wrestling Reflection with myself and the Tommy Wonder. And it's free.
It is free. That's right. Nicely put. As far as I go, check out I Like It Raw every Tuesday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, where me and Big Ray Hernandez talk everything Monday Night Raw. Don't miss that. Also, go check out the Smack Attack this past week with myself at R to the B to the V, where we break down everything WWE SmackDown, and it was from London. And it was a pretty good show, decent show, but still go check that out. And also, of course, The Wreckage every Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern. Don't miss that. And that's about it from me. Also, actually, go check out the Monday Locker Room, because this past week, the boys and the boys I'm talking about is RBV and, of course, Bin Hamin, where they had Yasmin St. Clair from JCW Lunacy as a guest, which was a great show. Check that out if you haven't already. And most importantly, like and subscribe right here at Hamin Media Group's YouTube channel. We would very much appreciate it. And thank you to everyone that joined us right here on The Wreckage. You guys are all hilarious. You all killed it tonight. Thank you for the super stickers. And of course, your comments tonight or today were absolutely magnificent. So in saying that, I am Jimmy T. He is the best in the world, Jaime the Vet Williams. And that is the magnanimous, the glorious, the Professor Chabelo Vera Cruz. And you've been listening and watching the Maximum
Wreckage.
Banana.
I'll do it for you, boy. And until next time, much love, peace out, and see yous.